Family. Family is considered to be a big part of this story, not just for the fact that we had to watch a brother kill another brother, and a brother kill another brother's wife, and a child watch her mother get killed by a father's brother. It is important because the whole trigger for this new storyline was a child born from the child of a supervillain and a hero. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video and watch it till the end. It really helps me grow. Alright, so we get back to the story with the origins of the superhero abilities in this world. If you remember, her father saw an island in his dream, and that island had promises of new technology, but the new technology was a lie. This place promised abilities, but only her father knew the truth. And this so-called island he proposed was not an island at all. This place was just a big-ass machine. Walking up the hill, they noticed how well built this place was. The technology was insane. When they entered inside, it had its own sky, its own atmosphere. And this is when they saw them. This is when they saw the creatures who promised to evolve them to the point where they would be able to get superpowers. I mean, at this point in time, any logical person should start asking questions. How does someone promise you superpowers, promise you a gift to such a magnitude, and you just accept it without asking why? Because there was a reason they were all given powers, but more on that later. Back in the present though, we are reintroduced to the family. The little boy, who she was pregnant for in the first video, was born. He was now maybe 9 years. It's been 9 years in the future, and the world was completely different than it was 9 years ago. They were completely honest with this kid. He knew they were on the run. His mother always told him about the golden age, where heroes tried not to hurt people, where heroes still played in the sky, where there was still love. But now, there was no love. They were living in a surveilled state. The heroes had taken over, and the world was worse off for it. But we see his father not really happy with the idea that the son knew all of this information. He wanted his son's concern to be baseball, football, not heroes and villains. Telling him to go to bed because tomorrow he has a big game. And it was a big game. He did perfectly. He failed. And that was the plan. Because their son was so perfect. He had a genius level intellect. And he was a super athlete because he was a super. So every time he failed, they congratulated him. When he got bullied, they praised him. Because they know it only takes strength of character not to use your super strength to bust the bully's face. His son was always curious as to why his father always carried his teleportation rod, but it was always there as a precaution. So if they need to run, they could just run. But right now they couldn't because there was a big explosion. A fire was engulfing the city, seeping into the clouds. His son took off. While his father was talking in a nanosecond, he took off to the skies because he has been handling all the disasters himself. Flying up to the clouds, he made a funnel that sucked away all the smoke. Using his other abilities, he made it rain. I mean, he's basically a god. I don't even understand the limits of their superpowers. Anyways, my man was back next to his father, and his father just thought it was a freak weather condition. You don't know your own son is basically the Superman of your world. That's whack. Anyways, we see that her brother was now the president of the United States. And it's weird because anyone that chats shit, he could hear it from a mile away. So he comes out from the office and tells everybody to go home with this super breath. People die because of that. You feel me? But his uncle is there to just wipe the memories of people or make them think everything is okay. But everything is really not okay. They killed the parents. They killed his brother on the idea that heroes can rule the world better than humans can. And because heroes took over, the world is ending quicker than possible. I mean, Jesus Christ, what a waste. Anyways, we see that the heroes had sent out a hunter to track down his sister or any undercover hero that is currently hiding their identity. This hero hunter can control molecules, and he tracks down this woman. Apparently, she doesn't take any buses. She doesn't spend any money on transportation. She doesn't. Her life is so perfect and ordinary and can be explained logically that it seems to be false. So he did the next best thing. He turned the oxygen in this office to sleeping gas. Everyone was asleep except him and her. Realizing her cover was blown, she decided to take off. And she turned into a giant. Like, how logical is that? You're trying to escape and you turn into a giant. He just traps her with the molecules binding her arms and her legs. She was a felon and she was going to be imprisoned. But my boy was just having the fun of his life. During his free time, he takes off to the moon, really happy that no one knew his secret. But someone was waiting for him on the moon. His mother. She had caught on to him. And apparently, because he was so smart, he was building a machine to help track down anyone with abilities so they could band together and help save the world. But his mother told him to destroy it. And he did. With one swift motion, the machine was gone. She told him, bruh, you need to calm down. I get you want to help, but this is not the way to do so. But it was already too late because they had him in their sights. Realizing that he only comes out when there's a disaster. The next day, on his way to school, he was being bullied as usual. But over the radio, we hear that there was an accident on the bridge and all the girls in his class come over and tell them to let him go. He needs to go save people on the bridge. He was confused, but all the girls had noticed that anytime there's chaos, he's always disappearing and coming back when there's no more chaos. They had figured out his identity already. So they told the bullies to let him go so he could go save lives. And he nodded his head in agreement and took off. All the girls looked at the bullies and told them, don't tell anyone or else you're dead. They had his back. But sadly, this was all according to the villain's plan because there was no disaster. This was the plan of the Molecule Man, knocking this child back so hard he plummeted into the ground because he was going to take this child one way or another. But the boy was hurt. He was in pain. And all he could say on reflex was, help me, mommy. The Molecule Man smiled. Your mommy is not here to save you. You are done. But we see something was coming at a speed fast enough to shake the ground. And when she got there, all the guns melted because mommy was here and none of you will hurt my baby. She blasted everyone back using telekinesis. This was being reported live, so her husband watched this happen. The Molecule Man tried to protect himself with the force field, but that was pointless. She banged him up, punch after punch. And while she was busy, they tried to capture her son. But his father wouldn't let that happen, bringing forth a train that crushed every single soldier alive. Their family was lethal. The boy, strong. Father, strong. Mother, on a whole different level. They were kicking ass. She let it be known that she was born to do this. So she's with the smoke. Everybody get back. She blasted them back with another force field, grabbing onto one of their jet bikes and crashing it into Molecule Man. He was done. And they were done as well. Using the teleportation rod, they left because they were tired of running. And everyone saw this happen live. Everyone saw this happen live. Shorty was remembering when she was younger, trying to hide her identity with her father. But now she was done hiding, telling her son to build his machine to track superpowered individuals. Her man made it clear that the odds were against them, but she smiled. We're superheroes. The odds are always against us. It's about to go crazy.